What's up everybody, welcome back to Double T Gaming. Hope everyone is having a great day today, and on this day we will be talking about the most recent video from Blizzard, and that is about the Titan Reforged realms. And these seem to bring in all new type of actually Blizzard sponsored experience with vanilla, TBC, and Wrath. Now the main downside for this, and it is a big one, is that this is only available for the China servers, and we'll talk about as to why maybe that is. But even with that being said, this does mean that at Blizzard there is some type of focus for a plus type of experience, albeit not for vanilla specifically, as well as using plus as a very subjective term, since some people consider plus to be different things. But if you're in the know with what Blizzard has been up to, these realms were actually announced a while ago, but we finally got some more details on them from Clay Stone, who is the Associate Production Director at WoW Classic, as well as Ian, who we all know, the Game Director for all of WoW. So the server itself is going to be basically a mix of all three of the original WoW versions, so Vanilla, TPC, and Wrath. In my opinion, the golden era of WoW before Cataclysm started making it a bit more too retail-y, I guess you would say, and released them all into the same version of WoW at the same time, with the max level being 80. All raids from all three expansions are tuned to 25 players at level 80, so they'll be doing Blackwing Lair level 80 with 25 players, or Black Temple level 80 with 25 players still, and I believe all of these raids will be coming randomly throughout different seasons. So maybe you'll have AQ40 and Karazhan in one tier, and then Gruul's Lair and Obsidian Sanctum in another tier, and then maybe Black Temple and ICC being the ultimate tier or something like that. There's also going to be a new dungeon and raid currency to help players gear faster, maybe similar to what we've seen in future iterations of Classic WoW with Heroic Plus currency, along with upgradable legendary weapons, so I'm assuming things like Thunder Fury or Warglaives can be upgraded as the season progresses, as well as new ways to obtain Profession, Rep, and Resistance type gear, with new tier set bonuses being for 2-piece and 4-piece, along with a whole new set of achievements specifically for this realm. And they did say that there are still new things to come, but wanted to keep most of it a surprise. As well as also something we all knew, that TBC Anniversary is coming soon. And I will say, before we put your pitchforks up, I did play Classic Anniversary up until a few weeks into BWL, when it just kind of got burnt out of raiding the same content at 40 players, and I'm kind of up in the air if I want to play TBC, so we'll see. But back to these new servers, I'm going to be assuming this is going to basically be following the Wrath of Lich King type playstyle, so Wrath talents and class balance. Honestly, this does sound pretty familiar as to what we're seeing with Ascension's Bronzebeard and how that server plans up playing out, but with that server, it is the Wrath systems, but they're going to be following Vanilla and Wrath progression style. Rather, with Titan Reforging, it's going to be coming out all at once, into the same expansion. But anyway, so why is this only coming to China? Well, if you didn't know, basically, WoW in China kind of went dark for a while because Blizzard's publishing deal with NetEase ended in, I think, early 2023, after a big fallout between the companies. That meant that Chinese players lost access to all Blizzard games, including WoW, for over a year. In 2024, Blizzard and NetEase patched things up, announcing a new long-term partnership to bring WoW back to China in 2025. And I think this is just part of that relaunch process for China. Also in the announcement video, there was a heavy focus on shop items being carried over to this realm. And I don't know exactly what the shop for WoW looks like in China, but I'm going to assume it has a lot more pay-to-win type items maybe. Let me know in the comments if that's true. And they even mentioned specifically that basically the recruit a friend bonuses for these realms would include some type of items that would help you level up. So I think basically that it is an entirely different market and different audience in China than what we're used to in NA and EU. And they also probably know that the public perception, if the cash shop was heavily advertised and favored by Blizzard in our market, would not be welcomed too kindly at all. I also think that Blizzard knows that Classic Plus or any new content attached to those first three expansions would be heavily criticized under the Western market, because there are so many of us that are passionate and want this to happen. So I almost see this as Blizzard using this type of content in China almost like a testing ground, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and seeing what players like from this approach to the game. Now, do these servers appeal to me? I think so. I think anything new that comes out regarding those first three expansions, again, my favorite era of WoW, would be fun to experience. Although it's not new content, just a way to play that content differently than you ever had before, with Wrath 2 and Molten Core, or maybe Wrath 2 and Magtheridon's Lair, or something weird like we've never seen before. But bottom line, this isn't really Classic Plus, and I think that's what a lot of people are saying in response to it. I think most people's idea of Classic Plus is focusing on vanilla, introducing new class mechanics, new zones, new dungeons, quests, that actually exist in the vanilla world before they take you to a whole other continent and you kind of forget about Azeroth in general. And I think Blizzard probably knows that if they were to announce this for NA and EU, it would be a massive slap in the face to the hundreds of thousands of players who are actually wanting a Classic Plus experience and not something with just 3 iterations of WoW merged into one. But I do think this might be a step in the right direction if they were to introduce some type of new content into these servers and not just have it be literally playing through vanilla, then playing through TBC, then playing through RAV as fast as you can, and then hitting those tiers with the seasonal releases. But at the end of the day, and I've said this before, I appreciate Blizzard for creating WoW. We wouldn't be talking about Classic Plus if Classic already wasn't the game that it was to all of us, something that made us want even more of it. I just think that if they were to do their own Classic Plus, which I think it's inevitable and that they will do it at some point, they're going to be walking on thin ice the entire time with it. And rightfully so, after the legal moves they've been making trying to take down some of the more Classic Plus pure experiences. I think if they did their own, they would have to be very, very careful as to what content they're introducing and what's being changed, and make sure to try to make everybody happy, even though that is going to be an impossible task. But anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments about these new Titan Reforged servers in China. If they were introduced in NA and EU, would you play them? Do you have any interest in seeing them at all? Do you think it's a step in the right direction towards a Blizzard Classic Plus? Would you even play a Blizzard Classic Plus? Let me know. Don't forget to hit that like button and sub to the channel for more WoW Classic Plus content. I got a little bit of a different video coming out for you guys on Friday. I hope you like it. If not, totally cool, all good. But thank you guys for watching. This is Double T Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video.